Welcome back. On October 18th, 1775, a major historical event happened in Falmouth, Massachusetts, which is now known as Portland, Maine. The British bombed the city and most of it burned to the ground.
250th anniversary is being recognized this weekend. Joining us this morning with more on the history and the event is Holly K. Hurd from the Tate Museum. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, the folks that don't know about this part of Portland history, tell us what happened.
So 250 years ago, on October 18th, as Katie mentioned, a captain from the British Navy actually came into the harbor with a total of 5 ships. His ship was called the Canso, and he actually warned the people that he had had orders to bomb the town with cannonball and to burn it to the ground. And so he was following out his orders. The town of Portland actually knew him well because he had been in the harbor several times, and they were a little surprised that this was what was going to happen. So his original idea was that he was going to give them 2 hours, and they sent people to talk to him, and they decided to give him 24 hours. So he started on the morning of October 18th at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and he sent cannonballs towards the town and burned about 3/4 of the town. He burned from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. that night, and because not enough of it was decimated, he actually sent landing crews to continue to just light fires. So a lot of the town was really, really decimated. Wow. And it was part of the American Revolution that had begun just a few months earlier down in Concord and Lexington.
Why is this such an important piece of history to remember?
I think it's important because this is one of the most important things that happened in the state of Maine during the American Revolution. Before that time, there had been people sort of on both sides. It had only been a few months, as I mentioned, that people had that the Lexington-Concord thing had happened. But Maine really wasn't strongly involved yet in the Revolution, and this really caused people to become really like, okay, this is not a nice thing. George Washington actually commented on what a cruel and barbarous act it was, and it really motivated the people to begin to be involved in the American Revolution.
Well, 250 years later, some ships will be sailing into Portland Harbor for a reenactment of the bombardment and much more. Talk about the ships and what'll be going on. How exciting that's going to be.
Yes, this is a really big event because we are commemorating this event this coming weekend on September 20th, and we are actually going to do a reenactment of the bombardment that happened, where we've got a tall ship that's known as the Lynx from Nantucket. It's got giant sails. It looks a lot like what the Canso would have looked like, and so it's going to come into the harbor. It's going to be right in front of the Maine State Pier. People can watch the bombardment from 10 to 11. He's actually going to be out there in the harbor, and so the public should come and gather on the Maine State Pier, and he's going to be bombing for 30 minutes. It's important for people to know about this because you can imagine if you didn't know, it's going to be very loud. It's simulated cannon fire, so there'll be smoke and loud noise happening at that time. Later in the afternoon, we have walk the deck tours where the Lynx will be dockside at Damilo's, and people can come aboard the ship, and for a small fee they can walk the deck. And then that evening we have a reception that's called Flames to Freedom, where people can come aboard deck and enjoy hearing more about the event and supporting the Tate House Museum.
Why do you feel like this is such a great way for people to learn about this important piece of history, to actually, see it reenacted?
Yes, the Tate House Museum's mission is actually to invite everyone to experience 18th century life in Maine. And so we are really about people actually experiencing. We have a lot of people associated with our organization who like to dress in 18th century costumes, and so we will have people dress like that, and I think that's just a really good way. It's almost theatrical, where people can actually immerse themselves in history, and we do that sort of event quite often at the Tate House. We have an event called Colonial Ale, where people can come and hear about, the different kinds of beer and ale that were consumed during that time period, and also Colonial Christmas. So that's just something that we do, is we really like to have like a live sort of version that people can see. And it's a good way. A lot of people are interested. They don't just have to learn from a book, dates, but they can actually see characters and see things. So that's part of the reason that we're bringing this ship.
Yeah, there's an event coming up, but also people can see basically around with some of the cannonballs. Talk about that.
Yes, there are a couple of remnants of this bombardment that happened 250 years ago, and they are in the First Parish Church. So if you visit the First Parish Church, you can find a couple of about 18-pound cannonballs that are sitting in a pew that actually were lodged in the earlier church. They found them, the church that's there now was not the church at the time, it's been rebuilt, but they found them lodged in the walls of the church. And there's actually a chandelier there that has another one, what's called a carcass that didn't explode, and they put that in the chandelier. So if you visit the church, you can actually see 3 cannonballs that came from Henry Mowat's ships in 250 years ago, which is really neat. Yeah.
And is there a website where people can find out more about the schedule of events and when things are happening?
Yes, our website, tatehouse.org, is where there's additional information about these events.
I love history.
Oh, it's so cool. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of that with us.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with more of Maine, including a recap of the big winners from last night's Emmy Awards.